Hey, you guys, welcome back to Stella's Knife Obsession, and I am happy to bring you today the Artisan Great White. And it actually does come in white amongst, I think, one, maybe two other variations. I'll put a pin there just to do a size comparison for you because this is a this is a larger knife. I mean, it's not huge by any stretch, but it's a big knife. So I just wanted to compare that in a way so you guys could see. So there you go. Very tactical, this pen. Very good. Actually, this is an amazing pen. I love it. So I guess I didn't want to use the quarter because I just realized other people use quarters and I don't want them to think I'm copying. So there's a quarter. Cool. How about this? A backspacer. Okay. All done. Let's see. Is it okay? All right. So I'm using a different setting on my camera, so we'll see how it ends up today. Anyway, let's get to this bad boy right here. It's actually quite beautiful. I love the fact that they did these really, like there's like a secondary and a third tip. I mean, that's usable. It's crazy because you can open boxes with this sucker. I love the fact that it's like in the style of a Japanese tanto. That's what it reminds me of. Um, I want to say they consider it a drop point, but I don't know if you could consider this any traditional type of blade shape. It's really unique, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. It does have a recurve too, so if you can see that right there. Uh, so you're gonna have to have some really mad sharpening skills to own one of these. I do not possess the skills needed to sharpen a recurve like this, and I could do this grind, or this edge all day, but yeah, I'm not very good. This would end up being a flat edge right here, so I would never attempt to sharpen it, but not like it needs any sharpening. This thing is bad, man. This thing is sharp. Actually, I should have brought a piece of paper along, so let me do that. There we go. All right. Yeah, this thing is wicked, amazing, beautiful, really sharp. Awesome. I love this blade. It's so cool. And just check it out. I believe this is a factory sharpening. The person that loaned it to me, I'm almost positive he didn't even have it long enough to have sharpened it. So this is definitely a factory fresh blade. So it's sharp if I can get it to go through paper. I have struggles with that, right? Okay. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show you guys. And I will clear this off since I'm using that other thing, that other setting. All right, back at it. So as you can see, I just wanted to point out the ergos on this thing because the handle is incredibly thin. So it's for a full size knife, this thing carries very easily. It doesn't take up too much room. Let me just show you. Uh, it is a little wide this way, but it doesn't take up that much room. You can still get your hand in there very easily next to this thing. So it's not bad at all. So if you are carrying this, which it I don't see why you wouldn't. If you buy this knife, it's gonna help you in so many different ways. It's crazy. The reason being is that the blade and those odd angles that they've sharpened onto this blade, I think that each one has its own unique purpose and it's pretty cool for that reason. This could almost cut down on the amount of knives you have to carry because if you're anything like me, you carry up to 4 knives if you have 4 pockets. So if I'm wearing cargos, forget it. I'm wearing 4 knives. So I've been trying to cut it down to 2 or even 1 now and then, and it's been hard, but I'm doing it. Anyway, so as you can see, there's almost a slight like Warncliffe style going on here, but there's a harpoon style. It's almost a spear point blade. it's a tanto, it's a recurve, and it's a flat grind for a lot, for the most part of the blade. So you have a lot going on with this blade. It's crazy. And I love it. I love it so much. It's just, and it's a Gavco. So the designer is Gavco. I believe, yeah, Gavco. Awesome designer. I wasn't too familiar with them until I looked it up when I got this here. And they have some really beautiful designs. They have some customs that look so much like this knife. Oh my god. They're beautiful. So check them out on Instagram if you like them. If you like this design, you'll see a lot more there. So then you can see where I have my finger resting here. This has got the best ergos, and I think even larger hands could easily get their finger in there because there's so much of this right here that you can actually have a big finger and choke up, you know? I mean, I can put the fattest part of my finger there and it's still not cutting me. So it's, this thing is pretty universal as far as I'm concerned. Now you can see this right here because there's no jimping, but if you use the harpoon, it's perfect. It's in the right spot for any type of downward pressure that you might need to get by anchoring on the harpoon, and then you stick your other forefinger here and you have a perfect grasp on this thing. It's so cool. Now check where my fingers go on the handles because we haven't even gotten to the handles yet. So as you can see, I'm taking that off the choil, and then there's almost like a cutout. Well, there is a cutout. And then there's another kind of space here. It's like a neutral space, but it's slightly, slightly angled. So you can get a really nice finger rest there. So you can carry it like this. I mean, hold it like this, and it feels good, especially when you have your finger behind the harpoon. But this is a really good purchase on this knife. Either way. I mean, this knife I thought it was so impractical. My first view of this knife, when I laid eyes on it, I thought, man, is that cool looking, but it's so impractical. And don't get me wrong, I have my fair share of impractical knives that I will never get rid of because they're just cool, So, but this thing is not impractical at all whatsoever. The action is off the charts. It's creamy smooth, and I hope that makes sense when I say creamy, because, it is really, really smooth. And there's no other way for me to describe it because it feels so creamy. See if I can get that to do that again. Ooh, baby, that thing is nice. It's just a nice knife, you guys. Would I recommend this? Absolutely, without a doubt. This has the same colorway as I think it's a special edition, but I'm probably wrong. They have that new, it's the special edition, the button lock feldspar, and they have it in this colorway as well. So they're kind of using this new thing going on here for a few different things, which I kind of wish, since Artisan is the more expensive side of the brand, I wish they would have used something a little different just to, have a clear and present distinguishment from CJRB. So, yeah, I just think that Artisan does these crazy off the wall things sometimes, and especially when it works out for them, it's like, don't put the same stuff that you're putting on your CJRB, your budget brand. I mean, it's just weird that they did that, and then they want to charge. I don't know how much they charge for this, but I'm sure it's probably upwards of $80. So I guess this is, it could be considered a budget knife as well. Which reminds me, the steel is the RPM 9, so it's not that fancy of a steel, but it'll keep its edge a little better than 9CR will, so I mean, that's always good. It's a lot more stainless than D2, that's for sure. I can't stand. I'm starting to have some issues with D2, but we'll talk about that another day. I'm getting a little angry about it though. But anyway, yeah, I mean, the handle does taper down to a very slender back end, but it doesn't seem to affect the ergos, in my opinion. I think this thing just turned out really well. The designer obviously knows what they're doing, and I think that they should be uh, commended. Honestly, this thing is beautiful, and I don't know if this thing's over $100 or what. I probably should have done that little bit of research. I just didn't think about it. I never usually go over price, so um, it's not something I really like to disclose, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, but check it out. It goes into the choil, into the cutout, into the flat spot or curved spot. And then you have this tail end here for those of you who have monstrous hands. You'll have a pinky rest back there. So I think this would work out for any size hands. Unless they're really teeny tiny hands, I really do think this would work out for anybody. So very cool knife, very sharp. I'm really impressed with the edge. The factory edge on this thing is ridiculous. It's amazing. So one other thing I almost forgot to mention is this deep carry pocket clip. It could have been a little, I mean, it's fine, but I think that Artisan should have thrown maybe a titanium clip. I know a lot of people don't like titanium clips, so maybe that's why they didn't. But I think I'm going to look up the money that they charge for this, and I'll put it right here, somewhere about here. But I'll let you know how much they charge for this variation, and we'll just go from there. But you guys can make your decision from there, and you let me know in the comments below if you think it's too pricey for what you're getting here. Also, I almost forgot to point out the fact that these liners are like midnight blue. They're beautiful. Let me get a light. All right. The action is phenomenal. So the deployment option is pretty cool. So anyway, check that out. Isn't that beautiful? I don't know who likes, colored liners, but these worked out pretty nicely, I think. And yeah, so you can see that they are skeletonized. Well, I don't know if you guys can see that actually. Yeah, there you go. So they are skeletonized, and it's not exactly that heavy, but it does feel blade heavy to me. But it's still centered pretty nicely. The weight is very nicely centered. So ooh, baby, that's so nice, man. The drop is awesome, creamy. But the deployment hole, I think they did a phenomenal job with as well. I do believe these pivot collars are titanium as well. I could be wrong, but I don't know. I think they could have put the titanium clip on there. Just I don't know. I think that if you're spending the kind of money I think this costs, you deserve a titanium clip at the very least. I think if they're going to charge you $100 for something like this and give you powdered 9CR steel, then they should at least have titanium liners. I think that's only fair. Titanium liners or titanium hardware in its entirety. I don't know. That's just my opinion, though. Who am I? I am not Artisan. They've been doing it for a long time, so I'm sure they know what they're doing, and I'm sure they know how to, price things. So I just feel as though there may be a couple things that they could do that would be pleasing to their fan base if they did it. So maybe this is nice. Micarta is really nice, but I feel like they could do better, They use this on everything right now, just like that burgundy micarta that I love and I'm obsessed with. I think they have this in that burgundy micarta, but they're wearing this stuff out already and putting it on everything. It's like a splash of the same exact micarta with the blue pivot ring. I just feel like they could do better. But I mean, I don't really want to complain too much about this because I do believe that it's still within the range of uh, budget, and I do believe that this is probably the most cost effective way for them to offer us a blade like this from a designer like this. And I so the end all be all for me is it's a win. This thing is awesome. The stupid little things that I complained about are really stupid and little, honestly. I think that these pivot rings are just fine. I think this micarta is good quality. I just wish it was different colors. I wish they would switch it up a little bit. It's like once they get on one thing and that's the new thing that came out for them, that's what they stick with for a while and then until they change it. So, you know, um, but the end all be all, like I said, you guys, this thing is awesome. If you like that blade shape, I would definitely recommend it. And if you don't like it, I totally understand that too. I really do. So, one thing I do want to mention is I love Artisan's logo. I think it's very nice looking. But I think that it would have benefited the blade if they put it closer to the ricasso, you know, instead of putting this up here. I mean, I get it. They had to put the uh, part number, the China, the AR RPM, and the Gavco knives right there, but they still put their symbol right there. I mean, it's weird that they did that, but whatever. But I think that this would have benefited the show side would have benefited from the Artisan logo to be a little closer to the Ricasso. Um, but that is a nitpicky thing as well. I literally had to try and find things wrong with this. Other than the fact that when you first see it, you think it's a gimmick. It's not. It's not a gimmick at all. This thing is extremely useful. Um, it's very attractive, even though they use the same micarta. Well, they use the same colorway, period, on their new button lock feldspar. But that doesn't make it any less attractive. It's a very attractive knife. I like it a lot. So, anyway, why don't you guys sound off down below and let me know, what do you think of this knife? And do you have any opinions that you think might benefit Artisan in the long run? Let me know. I hope you made it to the end. This was a really long review of this knife, but if you stuck around, I appreciate you to the fullest extent. And I will see you soon.